Hey there, listeners. A quick note before we get into today's podcast. This episode was recorded before the tragic death of Rob Reiner and his wife. And I only bring that up because Mr. Reiner is mentioned in the discussion about working on Spinal Tap and some other things that our guest had worked with him on. It's a really tragic loss, and I just wanted to put it out there because it's not mentioned because this recording happened before that tragedy. I was lucky enough to work with Mr. Reiner twice, and a nicer guy you could not have met, and more talented. Just a huge, huge loss for the whole community and for his family, of course. On today's episode, we'll talk about starting out in 1970s Hollywood, shooting on stage with Jimi Hendrix, Gimme Shelter, This is Spinal Tap, and of course, turning down Orson Welles for Leave It to Beaver. Just a little bit of business before we start. There may be a curse word here or there in this episode, so please listen responsibly. As always, our website, theop.io, is up and chock full of tips, tricks, and GUI operator goodness. Make sure to check out The Breakdown, where the best operators in the biz explain shots they have done, The Musings, where we discuss everything from quick tips to larger concepts of storytelling, the answers, the images, and so much more. I may or I may not take a break or two during this episode, but I promise that none of them will be longer than 22 seconds. Finally, if you are enjoying the podcast, please follow us, write a review, share us with your parents, and talk us up around the water cooler with your friends. So grab a beverage, sit back, and enjoy the op. Thanks for listening.
Lock it up, nice and quiet, and let's roll.
Rolling. Victor 30 Echo, take 2.
Hammer, D-Mark.
And camera set. And action.
Hello and welcome back to the Op Podcast, the podcast where we talk about operating and the art of visual storytelling. I'm your host, Dave Comides, coming to you over the internet from Atlanta to Los Angeles with a friend and someone I've worked with quite a bit, cinematographer Peter Smokler. Peter has had a really interesting and varied career that I'm excited to talk to him about, but but definitely not all of the things that he has worked on. An American Family, Pee-wee's Playhouse, Sports Night, Drew Carey Show, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Larry Sanders Show, This is Spinal Tap. He won one Emmy for Sports Night and was nominated several other times, and is just a really interesting guy and very excited to talk to him. Peter, thanks for coming on the show.
Okay, glad to be here at last.
When you hear all that, do you think back like, wow, that's like, I mean, sometimes when people hear all this stuff, they go, wow, that's like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I mean, you don't really think about that. It's like, okay, well, what am I doing now? What am I doing now? What am I doing now?
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that when you do something that's really great, and like, especially if you do a couple of them in a row, you think like, this is going to be the greatest. And then you just start to get some regular stuff. When is the great one going to come along again,
Yeah, there's peaks and valleys, right? I mean, that's the way the whole business is. But
I mean, I'm always happy to be working, and it's always satisfying to see something come out great, looking great,
Yeah.
But sometimes you're on a great thing like the Larry Sanders Show, and it's just so terrific to be around that kind of talent and see it every day,
Well, the thing is, I read off that list, and when I was putting that list together, the thing that blows me away is, look, not every one of those things was a massive, massive hit or something like that, but it's a really varied career that you've had. I mean, when you look at that list of things, it's a little all over the place in a very good way.
Yeah, that's it. It's nice. I didn't really get pigeonholed until late in my career.
Yeah, absolutely. So how'd you get into the business? How'd you get to where you are?
Well, that is an epic tale. Is it okay if I go into detail on it?
You can go into detail.
Okay.
I mean, the show's got to be under 4 to 5 hours, but otherwise.
Oh, okay. Well, when I went to small school in Michigan, it was an extension of Michigan State. It's called Oakland University. It's a larger school now, but when I went, there were 750 students.
Okay.
And there was a commuter population too. And at one point when I was a senior, the freshman class was given the opportunity to go abroad with two professors, let's say a group of 40 people, and go to France. Let's say you're studying French and you step out the door, you're in France.
Yeah.
And we thought, as seniors, we want that. And we petitioned the university and got a chance we got approved. And I was a philosophy and political science student, so I was I was in my China program at that point. And so a bunch of other people got together and we went to Hong Kong.
Oh, wow.
And so that was for a semester in Hong Kong. What do you do when you're in a duty-free port? You buy a camera, right? So that was it for me. I mean, whatever ambitions I had, I was basically going to go into law, out the door. This is what I want to do. And Hong Kong is an extremely photogenic city. And so there were two or three of us who this happened to, and we would go to our classes in the morning, go out and shoot all day, take our stuff to this lab at the end of the block, and then do your work at night. And then the next day you'd go to that lab and see your stuff and spend the whole day shooting.
So you didn't grow up thinking I want to be in the film industry or I want to be a cinematographer or director or whatever.
The only thing that was that early, it's like when I was younger, there was a photo exhibit that was put on by Steichen. It was called I can't remember what it was called. It was called People Something.
Yeah.
And it was from photography all over the world, including stuff by Cortez and Steichen and all these types.
Sure.
And I always was interested in thinking, gee, I think I could do that. But it wasn't an ambition until this happened, And also in my junior year, I started painting and questioning whether or not I wanted to really read my way from one end of the law school to the other. And then, but the big thing that happened in Hong Kong is that one day we were out and we saw this guy, American guy, big beard, Indian clothing, like the white long kurta and the white tight pajamas and a big Nikon F on his chest. And we said, we got to meet that guy. And that guy turned out to be Skip Gerson, who was a partner with Les Blank. Now, I don't know if you know who Les Blank is, but he's a really renowned American filmmaker about American blues musicians.
Oh, okay.
And they had been in Cambodia trying to make a film about B-52 bomber pilots. Like, you're blowing the shit out of these people. What's that feel like?
Yeah.
And they got nowhere. But Skip was wandering around Hong Kong. He wound up staying in our room for quite a while. And then when I got back to Detroit, we put on a photo show, which was really fun. And then I got into the Peace Corps to stay out of the Army.
Okay.
Once I got my deferment, I resigned and went to visit this person, Skip Gerson, who was living in a house of filmmakers and artists. And they were in the midst of making a film about Lightning Hopkins. I don't know if you know the Delta
I don't know
Blues.
why the name sounds familiar.
He's one of the famous Delta blues musicians, like Robert Johnson, and he was performing at the Ash Grove, and so we went down there, and I was hanging out with them, and then we went back to his hotel.
Wait, where is this?
The Ash Grove is in L.A.
You went to visit them in L.A.
So when I went into the Peace Corps, they sent me to Hemet, California, to be a poultry expert. I was going to be raising chickens in southern India.
Okay.
But when I got my deferment, I resigned and went to visit these people.
I see.
And all of a sudden, I wind up at the Ash Grove at this. It's a folk place in Los Angeles.
Okay.
And then they took me back to the hotel, and we were hanging out there and filming him. And he got me into a card game, and took all my Peace Corps severance pay.
How old are you at this point?
20.
20? Okay.
and it's like, oh shit, I don't have any money, but
You're
it's
broken
like,
in Los Angeles. When what is this? 1971?
1968.
68. Okay, a little earlier. Yeah.
Oh shit, I lost all my money, but how cool is it to lose it to Lightning Hopkins?
There you go. Yeah.
Well, in this house was a UCLA graduate student, Eric Saarinen, who became a great commercial cameraman. His father is a famous architect, the St. Louis Arch, the TWA terminal in New York. He gets a spec feature call. I'm just saying there as a guest, but they don't. There's, you know what a spec feature is. You shoot it if it
Yeah.
makes money.
Maybe you'll
But they
see.
didn't have an assistant cameraman, and they taught me how to load magazines. The next night, I'm in somewhere near Palm Springs on a feature film, 16 millimeter blow up film, and room and board, and learning how to be a filmmaker. You know
Do you
what I
remember
mean?
the name of the movie?
Reality, Mr. Kaufman.
I'm sure it's excellent.
Is with Les Crane. I don't know if you remember Les Crane, but he was a late night interview television host,
Okay.
newsy kind of guy like Charlie Rose.
All right.
Pretty famous at the time. And
So are you just loading, or are you pulling focus also?
pulling focus,
No,
the
but
whole deal.
But you don't know what you're doing. I mean, you're
Well,
learning as you go.
I mean, I know about photography because
Yeah, but
I'm
still.
crazy about it. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Wow.
And I'm interested in filmmaking.
Yeah.
I was thinking that I was going to be a gallery photographer. You know what I mean? Like Steichen or Cortez
Sure.
or Avedon. You know, that's what I was thinking. Also, I'm very much a long-haired hippie. And
I can't
speaking,
imagine that. I'm gonna need a picture of this, by the way.
I have
I'm
those.
sure you do.
They're somewhere in this computer here.
Yeah.
And speaking in hippie talk. And anyway, we do that feature, and the person who was this Skip Gerson, who was living in that house, he takes off, and I think he became the first assistant on Once Upon a Time in the West,
Wow.
the Sergio Leone film, and I take over his room, and now I'm living in this filmmaker commune. There's artists in there and it's a big house on Heliotrope near LACC,
Okay. LHCC. Yeah.
and there's an artist in the back making sculptures. His name is Masami Terioka. He became a very famous artist. He's had 3 retrospectives at the Whitney. And there was also one other artist who was building potential sculptures. These are called, like, he would get a telephone pole and bend it as far as it would go before breaking with a cable and a fixture in the middle of the cable with a pin in it and a tag that says "Do not remove this pin."
That's
And
fantastic.
and if you pulled on it, it would give. But if it really gave, this thing would destroy. He never got into any galleries because it was so dangerous. And he built all these things where he would bend something, and it would be called a potential sculpture.
Wait, and this was someone who lived in the house. You said lived in the
Yes,
back of the house.
yes,
And did he bend the telephone poles in the back of the house? I mean, did he do it
in
there?
the backyard. Yeah.
That's so great.
And anybody who had an idea for a project would just lag bolt a vise into the living room floor if they had to, you know.
That sounds fantastic.
But this person, Eric Saarinen, started to get more work, and I was his assistant. I became his assistant, and he eventually bought an NPR, and an Eclair NPR.
Yep.
And we did a lot of work, and then I met other cameramen. I don't know if you know Joan Churchill.
Yeah.
She's a very well-known. She's ASC now. Documentary camera person, director, camera woman, and worked with her on a lot of things. And then her father owned a company called Churchill Films. They made educational films, great educational films. A lot of people got their start there. Caleb Deschanel. I can't remember. There's a few other names, but I started working there as an assistant for other cameramen who were shooting those films, and eventually they moved up, and they said, "Well, hey, Peter, why don't you start shooting? You do one of these," and it worked out.
Wow.
And I became my ambition though was at that time to become a documentary cameraman
Okay.
and to really make, striking human documents,
Yeah.
and did succeed in getting those jobs. Eventually, I got on the BBC mailing call list and wound up shooting with them. And then I got this really strange call to go to Yucatan for 11 months to make verite films about contemporary Maya family life.
Wow.
And so went to this very early on when I was just starting to shoot, and I figured, well, 11 months behind the lens, this is great. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't, and also I wanted to be a verite cameraman, and so I went on this thing, and we were down in this village, no running water, no electricity, no one spoke English. They spoke Maya
Okay.
and a little bit of Spanish,
Oh,
and
Maya's
I
different
spoke
than Spanish.
some Spanish,
Okay.
so we got along pretty good.
Well,
And,
let me ask you a logistical question. So you're shooting 16, I'm assuming, 16
yeah,
millimeter, and so where does the film? How do you get film in there? And is someone driving back and forth to every day,
well,
or?
we wound up shooting 300,000 feet,
Oh my gosh, over 11 months.
and we brought film with us, and there would be occasional shipments back to Los Angeles
Gotcha.
where it would be processed and sunk up.
Wow.
And the director was a fanatic verite director. I mean, he had so much. He had done a lot of films, terrific films, verite films all over South America, and just the detail of how to stand, when to take your sunglasses off, how to open up a conversation, how to make people feel like you're working. You're not. You're. This is the work you do,
Yeah.
and how, so things that prevent people from being off put by being filmed,
Yeah. Putting them
and
at ease, right? Yeah.
and the time, just the amount of hours you spend just in someone's presence, you that's your work,
Hmm.
and you're always to the lens, you're always exposed, you're always in focus. You may not be rolling,
Yeah. But you're ready.
and when you take a break, everybody knows you're taking a break. There was just a million things,
Wow.
but he was just fanatic about it, and it was really difficult.
What
But
was it? What was his
I
name?
Hubert Smith,
Hubert Smith. I'll look him up. Oh, that's
and
interesting.
he made a wonderful film that I can never forget. It's called the Spirit Possession of Alejandro Mamani.
Wow.
It was in the Andes in Bolivia, and it was a family they were filming, and it was about potato farming at altitude, where they chew coca to help them get through the day because they go further up, And the father, the patron of this family. I'm off my career here for a bit, but the patron of
Yeah.
this family went to a big party, fell asleep against a tree, and spent the night there. But the trees are possessed. There are spirits in the trees called the Y, and he became possessed, and
Wow.
he became very ill for a long period of time. Doctors, nobody could help him. Spiritistas, exorcists. He eventually killed himself
Oh, jeez. Wow.
during the editing. But I mean, those are the kinds of films you can come up with if you're into that world.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say in my case, nothing that dramatic really happened. The
That's good.
project was for the Smithsonian Institute, and it was really to accumulate footage about the Maya, contemporary Maya. Um, what's her name was part of it. What's the world's most famous anthropologist? Margaret
Yeah.
Mead.
Oh,
Margaret
Mark.
Mead.
Okay.
And the other thing that was interesting about this project is that it had to be quote unquote reflexive. You had to comment on why you were doing things.
Oh.
So he did sound, and he had a mic. It was stereo. So he was constantly talking about what was happening
Just narrating, basically.
while he was recording.
Yeah.
I wonder if Margarita is going to come in the house because she's really angry at her father. And, that kind of thing. And we would film ourselves talking where I would have my eye to the lens and I would have a mirror in the shot filming my half of my face. And
Wow.
I'd be filming him. And we would discuss what the hell we were doing. What decisions should we go into town? Should we stay here? Should we go out to the field?
Wow.
And that was called reflexive cinema.
And that's also why you shot 300,000 feet.
Well, I mean,
You shot everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
amazing.
we worked a lot, and I shot a lot of film and
Yeah.
read a lot of meters and really got familiar with verite shooting.
I'm sure. And does something like that become routine after a while, or are you constantly reinventing and finding new stuff?
Well, I would say the methodology is always in the back of your mind as far as the director is concerned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would have liked to have photographed it more beautifully or more interesting. There was very few close-ups. It was always include as much information as you can. And no, but I would say what becomes not routine is the fact that life is not routine. I mean, life is routine to a degree. People have to make meals and stuff, but stuff comes up. People get
Stuff comes up.
sick.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, but the thing is, so after we got back, I wound up becoming a verite guy. I mean, just getting these calls,
Mostly document. I mean, when you say verite,
all documentary.
all documentary.
Yeah. The only fiction stuff I did was for Churchill Films, where I got a chance to do setups and lighting, and
Sure.
so that helped a lot, and I learned a lot. But then I got this call to work on a verite project about Werner Erhard. Have you heard of him?
Yeah, I
It
have.
was called EST, EST.
Yeah.
It was a big self-improvement movement.
Yeah.
In was it the 80s?
And it got resurrected some point as the forum. It had like a lot of different. It kept on getting turned into something else, and something else. But it was
that's the guy. So they wanted he wanted to make a film of and I got hired to do this film. And let me see if I can tell you some things about this.
I mean, it was a little bit of a cult, right? Not like small C cult.
Well, let's see. You can't really tell, but let's see. Can you see my eyes pretty well there?
Yeah.
So when you meet someone from Est, their eyes are like
super wide, and yeah, okay.
And they go, "Hi."
That's what I thought. Because, the reason that I ask,
I feel great.
The reason that I asked was years ago, a friend of mine went through the forum, which is why I know about it, because I think the Est became something which became the forum. It just kept on, probably for monetary reasons, it kept on reinventing itself. And there were all these like really beautiful women there who were coming to talk to us about joining in, and they were all very sort of like wide-eyed, and everything is lovely, and it was like programmed. It was very bizarre.
I acknowledge your space. Anyway, this project was, so Werner Erhard felt that he had solved the problem of the individual, but not of organizations. When I'm trying to give you the line, when two people get together or three people get to do something, it gets all fucked up. And he was going to solve that problem by racing cars, open-wheeled monocoque bodies. This Formula Super V was the water-cooled engine, but it's 120, 130 in the straights.
Okay.
He had two teams, and it was to the tune of $3 million, all non-tax deductible contributions from his followers.
Which was
And
back, by the way, that's a lot of money today. I mean, it was a lot of money then, but
yeah, but that paid maybe $1 million was for the film, and he had two teams. He was racing on the East Coast and the West Coast.
and wait,
He had the team.
I have to interrupt, but out of curiosity, how does car racing fix the problem?
Well, it's an organization. There's an individual in the car, but it depends completely on the organization, and it's really fun.
Okay.
He was pretty good on the amateur. He got a lot of practice time. He was on tracks almost all week long somewhere because he could afford it.
Sure.
So he qualified very, very good in any amateur race. He was on the pole. But any professional race, he was back a ways and was always getting in trouble. And there are scenes, like one of the concepts of EST is that you're responsible for everything that happens to you. If a safe falls on you out of a building, it's your fault.
You should have been somewhere else. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So we're at a track. He punts some guy off the track who's really pissed off. These guys, if they place, they get enough money to race again. They're building their own cars. Some of them are sponsored, but he comes to this. There's always an encampment every race. There's all these people, his followers from that town. And this guy comes charging up and says, you punted me off the track. You're not watching your mirrors. You mother, he's poking at him. And Werner says, you're responsible for that. Starts giving him that line. And this guy's like, but there were enough wide-eyed followers around him that the guy didn't really take off on him.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was several months. I mean, that was maybe 7 months on the road, all these racetracks, including some Formula One. There was Watkins Glen. It was really fun. And I had all of this Verite experience from having been in Yucatan, so I was really using those techniques and that methodology. And so it turned out to be a four-wall film. It was, I thought, a really good film, but their concept was it would be transformative. That people would see the film and be transformed by it. That organizations would all of a sudden work because people saw the film.
It would change the world. Yeah.
That went nowhere. However, somehow I wound up with a 35 millimeter print for the blow up. It lasted a week. They four-walled it. They paid for theaters all over the country. I wound up with a 35 millimeter print. I don't know why. They just sent it to me.
Amazing.
Sometime later, I get a call from Rob Reiner. He wants to, and his producer called me. They want to make a fake documentary about rock and roll. and we hear it, you do that kind of work. I took a reel of 35 millimeter, color corrected, a really emotional scene about the amongst the mechanics who felt that they weren't contributing. They weren't, what is the word they use? Giving Werner the proper space. The space is a big word.
All right.
And I took it to CBS Radford, never been on that lot, and to a screening room. And I put a 35 millimeter print up of the exact film he wants to make. You know what I mean? And he said, did you tell him what to do? Did you tell him what to do? No, we didn't do that. Okay, so they hired me to shoot a 10-minute promo reel.
Promo reel.
Because he had been given, I don't know, like $90,000 to write the film, and he wasn't going to write it because they're all extemporaneous actors. They're all, they know what the scenes are, but they're all improv guys.
And just for anybody who doesn't realize, this is Spinal Tap, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is how, so we shot for 4 or 5 days, and we made a 10-minute promo. And some of it is actually in the film.
Yeah.
But the person who was trying to hire him, it was Sir Lou Grade. I don't know if you know who that was. It was Marble Arch Productions. It was a British company, folded, and there was no future for this 10-minute piece, even
Wow.
though it was fantastic. And but we became kind of a small group of filmmakers. We made several films for a cable channel called On TV.
With
I
Rob
don't know
Reiner?
with these guys, this group of guys,
This group
Rob
of guys.
Reiner,
Yeah.
Christopher Guest, Harry Shearer, and Michael
Oh,
McKean.
wow. Oh, I didn't realize that.
And I don't remember this. I don't know if you remember. It was one of the first cable channels, and we made like five 10-minute films that were really fun. I mean, one was black and white. It was Christopher Guest in a Dashiell Hammett kind of mystery where he plays all the roles. You know, the secretary, the Indian butler. We made a behind the scenes documentary of an industrial that Michael McKean was the spokesman for. We made, I don't know, I can't remember. They were really good.
I've got to look for these because I'm sure they're great. That's fantastic.
They might be somewhere.
Yeah.
And then what was happening to me at that time? Oh, then eventually Spinal Tap gets made, and
Yeah.
I shoot it. And
Okay.
and there were other cameramen at that time that were like my icons, my heroes of cinema, of documentary. I don't know if you heard of H.J. Brown, Hilliard J. Brown, H.J.
Uh-huh.
Brown. Do you ever heard of
Yep.
him?
Yep.
And Rick Robertson. And I got to be able to hire them to be additional camera on the concerts.
Oh,
It was so
wow.
cool,
That's
you know,
great.
because like I had assisted them at some point, I believe. So anyway, we shoot the film. A lot of things happened while we were making that film. One of the stories, well, there's a couple of one of my stories is that the end of the film, they get more popular in Japan again, and they go to Japan and they have a huge success. So we filmed some theater in LA that we faked for Japan. We put symbolism, flags and stuff, and the people in the front were supposed to be all Japanese. So when you shoot the performing, you swing around to people, they were all Latino. There weren't any Japanese people there.
Jeez.
And I remember as I was leaving, I saw some Japanese people sitting in the seats because we just populated the front 3 rows. They were in kimonos. They were older people.
Wow.
We didn't film them, but we looked at the dailies. We were doing a long run there. We're going to do a bunch of different concerts, including this one. And there were just no Japanese people in any of the shots. And so the next morning, the production manager comes up to me and he says, "I hear you don't like my extras casting
Oh,
person."
jeez.
And I said, "No, I don't even know who that is, but just we couldn't find any Japanese people in the audience." And he says, "Well, I got the best." He starts poking me. Now here I am. I'm a 16 millimeter verite guy. We're in the middle of 3,000 amp generators. You know, I mean, really like semi trailers full of generator.
Uh-huh.
I mean, this is a lot of responsibility, and there's going to be several hundred extras. All the lighting is in there. I was like, I'm under some pressure here.
Yeah.
And he starts poking me,
Oh my gosh.
and I push him back, and he pulls his jacket aside, and he's got a gun there.
Oh my god. Good Lord.
I didn't push him anymore.
No, I can imagine.
But I was literally shaking. You know, literally like. You know how you get like
Well,
I don't get mad.
the
I'm not a
crazy
person
thing
like
is, this sounds like it's out of the movie. I mean, it's crazy enough. It
I
could have
don't get
been.
angry about shit. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not an angry person. Anyway, the thing that's far out about that is that we made the film. The film is a complete failure. It's promoted as a real band. We shot a bunch of promos as if they were a real band.
But that's what I remember hearing is that nobody understood that this was a joke. They just thought it was bad.
I know it got great reviews. I
Yeah.
mean, the Wall Street Journal. I don't know why I remember this, said, "You will, if you hate rock and roll, you will love this movie. If you love rock and roll, you will love this movie."
That's great. Fantastic.
And then, so I don't know, other things. I can't remember other jobs
Well,
happened.
the thing that I've always heard of, and I worked with Rob Reiner, and I meant to ask him this, and I don't think I did, was that you would look at the crazy things that was happening in the movie and say, "Well, I've seen crazier than this in the rock and roll stuff that I've shot." Is that not true?
I do remember moments when I would say to him, "I'm not sure this joke is playing." And he would say, "This is a fifth viewing joke."
Which is great, actually. That's very
Which
smart,
is
right?
really true.
Yeah.
You watch it a number of times and things come out that you didn't realize were funny before.
There's all sorts of it, like stuff in there that after you see it a bunch of times, it comes out. Because you mentioned it, I meant to ask you about it. You were one of the camera operators on the Altamont concert.
I was. Yeah, it was early.
There are people who are listening who won't know what that is. Can you just explain that? Why the significance
So
of that?
I think the movie is called Gimme Shelter, isn't it?
Called "Gimme Shelter." Yeah, yeah,
And okay, so I was living in that house
yeah.
and assisting a lot of people. You know, I don't know. I was got into NABIT. I was assisting bigger on commercials. You know, Andre Bartowiak.
Sure.
You know
Yeah,
that. Yeah, started assisting him. I mean, he was educated in Poland at the Film Institute,
yeah.
but he filmed some of the '68 Czechoslovakian demonstrations and was thrown out.
Oh,
He
wow.
would have had a career. He
Yeah.
comes to New York. He's 25 years old. He's shooting American Express commercials within a few months, you know.
Wow.
But whenever he came to LA, I would assist him in prep and everything. But so while I was shooting things in documentary, I was still assisting and mainly commercials. A couple of features with Gil Hubbs. Do you know Gil at all? Gil
Mm-mm.
Hubbs, great cameraman. Okay, so Altamont, I'm living in this house. I've been assisting. I've been shooting these educationals. Haskell Wexler gets the call to go up there and shoot the thing. He can't do it. Do you know a cameraman named Baird Bryant?
I know the name. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you probably heard of the Alabama coach,
Okay.
Bear
No,
Bryant.
yeah, Bear Bryant. No, but I've heard of that.
So
But anyway,
Baird was one of our heroes of our group, and he shot a lot of stuff. He had camera gear. He had 35 stuff. He had a nice house in Laurel Canyon. He had a projection room in his house. And so Haskell said, "Baird, you put it together." And Baird got Eric Saarinen, Joan Churchill. And I said, "Well, what about me?" You know? And they gave me a camera shot
Yeah.
on a couple of different projects. Another one was a Jimi Hendrix concert.
Whoa.
So we went up there and I I was out in the audience, trying to get stories, make verite style stuff. I don't know if any of that's in the film, but this is a film. I don't know if people know. It was a Rolling Stones, supposed to be like a Woodstock, but it was in this dusty, crappy location, and they hired the Hells Angels for security.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, and at one point in it was in the evening, some guy pulled out a gun, and within seconds he was knifed by a
Yeah.
Hell's Angel, and
One of them killed him. Yeah.
and I was part of that in that, and I think it's in the film. One point they sent me to the helicopter to film them leaving. Okay. So I'm out there. It's way before the concert's over, and this this ambulance pulls out on the tarmac, and it stalls or something, and they pull this guy out of the ambulance and start giving him a massage. What do you call it?
CPR.
CPR,
Yeah.
and he dies.
Oh, jeez.
And they can't get the thing started. And the producer who I was with pans my shoulders to his girlfriend and says, "What do you think of the free concert now?"
Oh my gosh. Good Lord.
I don't know if it's in the movie,
Wow.
but I do know that a Brinks truck comes out. And this was a truck which apparently was going to be for the Stones if things really got out of control.
Oh, to safely get him out of there. Yeah.
And they put the body in there, and they drive the body out of the free concert in a Brinks truck.
Oh, good Lord.
And we had asked the guy, the Stones guy at the helicopter, said, "There's a lot of time. Why don't you put him in there and fly him to a hospital?" Nobody gets in this truck, in this chopper besides the Stones,
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So that's that story.
Yeah.
But we did shoot some other really nice concerts. One was called Celebration at Big Sur. That was with Joni Mitchell, and I don't know if you know the Esalen Institute. You ever heard of it? It's up in Big Sur, and it's hot tubs, and it's that whole thing. And that was a really cool concert. That was with
probably a different vibe than Altamont, I would guess.
Totally different vibe. And I did some shooting that was good in that shot and that thing.
Because you mentioned it, I just have to ask you because I don't know many people. Was Jimi Hendrix in concert just unbelievable to watch?
That was called Jimmy Plays Berkeley. It's a really good film. Eric Sharon, Joan Churchill, and me, and I did what you would call period photography. They gave me a really long lens in the balcony.
Oh.
And a lot of times when he would bend a note, I would take it out of focus and back in.
That's great.
It was like, 60s rock and roll.
Was it? But I mean, it must have been amazing to be
eventually
Hendrix concert, with a long lens on him.
Yes, and then eventually they put me on stage right in front of the Marshall stack.
Oh, geez.
Right behind it. So I would shoot the over to the audience, and whatever I could get. And that is when I got tinnitus.
Yeah,
that is why I wear hearing aids now.
That'll do it. That'll absolutely do it. Good Lord.
And I tell people that story, and they say it was probably worth it.
Yeah. Well, easy to say now. Was it during this time that you worked on American Family?
It was a little bit before that because I was assisting Joan Churchill.
Okay, because that was like that's seen as the first reality TV show, sort of, right? It
was the first long form verite project,
Yeah.
But aside from Penny Baker films, like what was it? Don't Look Now? No. The one about Bob Dylan, the one about the Clinton campaign. Verite was a big.
Yeah.
I don't know what all the Penny Baker films, but the concept was to use that approach for An American Family.
And did you guys just go and live with them for a year, or how did that work?
You remember the Maisels, and the Wisemans? Maisels was that wonderful film about Bible salesmen in the South, and the Maisels, all their films. But the producer was trying to find a way to make an observational film, a long-term observational film about an American family. That was in Santa Barbara, and he stumbled on this family, and eventually they separated.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And that's when we got called in to cover the father, because the mother stayed with the kids.
Oh, I gotcha.
And so we wherever, we went with him all over the place.
Wow. And this was shot on film?
16, yeah.
So you just like you've got tons of film with you all the time. I would imagine that you're hauling around.
There's no viable portable tape
Yeah,
yet.
yeah,
Yeah. I can't remember the year, but it's
yeah.
probably early 70s because I stopped assisting in 76.
Okay, gotcha. Um, and so then where does Pee Wee's Playhouse fall into all this? Is that I lose track of timing? Is that like
There's a project at Universal Studios. I'm not
uh-huh.
in the union, okay? It's at Universal Studios, but I had shot second unit on several Corman films.
I did some Corman. Were you down in Santa Monica or Venice at that studio?
Before that studio even opened.
Oh, that must have
So
been even darker before then.
this was called it was called Eat My Dust with Ron Howard,
Oh yeah.
and if he acted in that film, he was going to let him direct a film, which was Grand Theft Auto,
Oh wow. Okay.
which became the biggest video game on earth,
There
right?
you go. Yeah.
And then he became one of the biggest directors on earth. So I had done a bunch of Corman film. I did one called Avalanche. I did the second unit on that with Rock Hudson and Mia Farrow.
Whoa. Wow.
And there was eventually a lawsuit about, well, why can't we do union jobs? Because we're DPs. And I can't remember the name of this director. He was a cameraman director, but he filed a lawsuit, went all the way to the Supreme Court, and we all got on it as a class action lawsuit. And the final decision was if you could prove you worked 90 days,
Yeah, this when they opened the union up, basically.
if you could, no, if you prove you could prove you worked 90 days for one producer, you could get on the industry experience roster
Yep. Yep.
in a group one as a group one.
Mm-hmm.
And so you gathered all your pay stubs and you filed this thing with this law firm, and eventually it was decided in our favor, and I was able to work on an IA show, even though it took me years before I got a call. But I got a call at Universal to do because of Spinal Tap. They wanted to do it in six. They wanted to do a series in 16 and transfer to tape of one of the very first things and cut using that old VHS system.
Wow.
And it was the new Leave It to Beaver
Okay.
called Wally and the Beaver, where they're adults now and they have kids. It was great. It was a great show. We shot 105 episodes over 5 years.
Wow.
And it was for WTBS. Oh, so we're in the middle of this. I'm still shooting documentaries. I get a call from the BBC to shoot interviews with Orson Welles.
Really?
Yeah. So it's a BBC. The two really great filmmakers. I knew them. I'd done a couple of things. They're in LA. They're waiting for a call from Orson Welles. Where to go, what to do. And they're at the Alta Loma Hotel. I don't know, that hotel on Alta Loma. I can't remember the name of it. So we start filming them, waiting for the call from Orson Welles. Finally, a call comes, says, go to Las Vegas, to the Riviera, ask for John. They hang up. It's like something out of The Third Man, right?
It is. It's fantastic.
So
of course, that's what you do, right? You go to Vegas.
We buy a shit pile of film. And we got my camera, and some lights and sound man. We go to Las Vegas, drive up to the Riviera Hotel. Guy comes up. He said, "We'd like to speak to John." Like maybe nothing was going to happen,
Yeah. Or
just a minute.
Or there could be 10 Johns. I mean, right?
Just a minute.
Yeah.
Guy comes up, says, "I'm John. Follow me." So we get the stuff together. We go to the penthouse at the Riviera. 15 minutes later, Orson Welles comes rolling in.
Wow.
He didn't walk. He was really heavy. So they'd roll him in and then he would move around once he was there. We filmed him for 10 hours. When we're rolling, it's on the record. When we're not rolling, it's off the record.
Uh-huh.
And it got dark, when it was in front of a window and the strip lights up and he says, that makes me happy. He was not happy at this point, he was shut down from making films. He had married some Contessa that had a home in Vegas.
Oh my God.
And And it was fantastic. And they had a retrospective of his films, and they needed an intro to each film. So that's
Wow.
that's the ostensibly what it was about. And
And
there's a lot of films.
does this footage exist somewhere, or
Yeah,
what?
I'm sure.
Do you know what?
I don't know how you would find it, but
Oh wow, that's amazing. I mean, was it fascinating to? I mean, what was was he
pretty cool.
forthcoming about his filmmaking, or I mean, what 10 hours he's got to
I
be, right?
can't remember all of it.
I'm
I do
sure.
remember he was really pissed off at Robert Wise for recutting Magnificent Ambersons. Well, a few weeks later, phone rings. It's Orson Welles. He's calling me. He's saying, "Oh, we had we had fun there. We had a lot of laughs, and I'm working on my film. I can't remember which film it was. I think it was Don Quixote.
Don Quixote, yeah,
He'd been really making. I think it was that for
yeah.
years and years and years. And we want to shoot, over the weekend, this weekend, that weekend. Well, maybe it wasn't weekends. I think it was a full 5-day shoot or something. I said, "Sorry, man, I'm gonna leave it to Beaver."
Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, I mean, who knows? It might have been the right call, but a missed opportunity. Wow.
I
What did he?
mean,
What did you say?
what
Leave?
would you do if you had? We leave it
No,
to
I mean
Beaver
you
or
gotta.
Orson Welles. There's
Well,
no choice.
right now. But did you say leave it to Beaver? And what did he say when you said that?
I'm not sure he had any idea what that was, but
Okay.
it was my first union job.
Yeah, you'd
It
fought
was
for it. I get
it
it. Yep.
was 22 episodes.
Yep.
It
Yep.
might have even been in the second or third year,
That's amazing.
and it's at a major motion picture studio.
Now,
And
was this his final? The Other Side of Midnight, his final film?
I'm not sure.
It probably
I
was.
can't remember. It
Because I
was
know he
so long.
shot that on like weekends at his house and stuff like that. I've interviewed a couple people who have been involved in that, but yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
a lot of people. Gary Graver, I think, was. Do you know that name at all? He
Don't
did a
know
lot of it.
Graver.
But I've talked to people who worked on those shoots, and they were not great shoots. I
No,
don't
no,
know if you got
they
that
were glad that
impression.
they did him from posterity. But what I heard, what I was told was that he'd come out in his. They shot at his house, and he'd come out in his bathrobe and like sit in the chair and direct. He just sounds like a fascinating guy. But that's amazing. Wow, what a story. So wait, but I was asking you about Pee Wee's Playhouse, and you came to this. How does that
Oh,
get into
okay.
Pee Wee's
So
Playhouse?
so on Leave It to Beaver.
Oh,
So that introduced me to studio shooting.
gotcha.
I had no idea. I walk in and there's beds everywhere. There's sets. Like I haven't, beds that
Oh,
were
green beds up top. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
green beds. Excuse me,
Sure.
and sets and like
You've never seen
I've
sound
shot.
stages like that. Yeah.
Did a movie of the week or so. I've done a lot of lighting, but
Yeah.
not like that. And
Right.
I found a gaffer who really really helped me out, and eventually it wasn't really my look for a while, but eventually he moved on, and I brought up a best boy, Mike Orphis. I don't know if you know the Orphis family.
I remember that name. Yeah. How about him?
Orafishe.
Yeah.
He became Dean Cundy's gaffer,
Yes. Yeah.
and but the two of us really came up with some nice looks for that. So there you have, you're in the IA, and you've done 16 millimeter production, and I just got a call they wanted to replace the cameraman on Pee Wee's Playhouse on the first season in L.A.
Mhm.
Not the first season was in New York.
New York. Yeah.
Then we had a season. Then they wanted to replace the cameraman, and I got a call. I don't know, one of those calls out of the blue.
Yeah.
But I had an operator. I operated. There were two cameras. I operated one, and Ivan Craig. I don't know if you remember Ivan at all.
No, I don't think so.
He operated a lot on Leave It to Beaver.
Okay.
John Hunnick was one of the operators. Do you remember? Do you know John at all? No.
No, I don't.
And I brought Ivan with me, and we started shooting, and it was really weird. It was. Do you remember? You know who the Collages group is? It's a
No.
lighting company.
Oh, no, no.
They do big events.
Okay.
and they do. They used to do things like the Grammys, and the producer was a guy named Steve Bender who had did a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so he had hired the Clagis group to light the place, but then they didn't know how to do setups. You know what I mean? Where you light a setup,
Yeah, they're doing event lighting basically, probably.
and
Right?
and they left the gaffer there, and he was not happy to bring out 4x4s and silks, and he was not happy to take. The set was lit, but we
Yeah.
had to light the action and not fuck up the way the set was lit. It was beautifully lit, and eventually, we made it through. We did. It was a great season. Huge set,
Yeah.
360.
Okay.
It was so. You spend a day in there. It's like you're on acid. You know what I mean?
Because that's what I was going to
It-
wonder is what was the experience? Because the colors and just the insanity of it all, right?
well, the thing about it is like an art installation. All the propping, all the decorating. You didn't move. You didn't move anything. I mean,
Ah,
for a setup, if you didn't see it, you could move it, but you
yeah.
didn't change. Everything
Everything
was
was by design, basically.
it was everything was a composition.
Yeah, makes sense.
You really didn't want it.
And did that come from Paul Rubens? Was that
Yes,
he was
yes,
the maestro of all that?
yes,
Amazing.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the people we had. I mean, we had great actors. We had.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I'm trying to think of who came through there, but there are a lot of people who got their starts on there. Phil Hartman was on there.
oh yeah,
Lawrence Fishburne.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah. So Lawrence
I tell you
Fishburne.
what, he was terrific. And I
And
met him years and years later when we were doing the George Lopez show
yeah.
at some kind of rap party or something. And he had a massive career by then,
Oh yeah.
Othello and all these. And I tried to introduce myself to him. I'm the DP here, and he didn't seem to want to recognize me. But then I said, I worked with you on Pee Wee's Playhouse, and I mean, you've done a lot of great things, but nothing quite comes up to the bar of Cowboy Curtis. And he laughed anyway.
That's great. Yeah. A ton of people went through there. It was amazing. Um, so I got to ask you about Sports Night because
Oh
people
yeah,
who people who listen to this, I will share this with you. People who listen to all these podcasts that I do will recognize that there's really one TV show that I mention that every time something comes up to it, I go, "You got to watch Sports Night." It was one of the best shows that nobody ever
oh
saw,
you
and
is that how you really feel?
it is
It
absolutely. And
was
I actually,
fantastic show.
it is a fantastic show. I think maybe second season it might have lost its way a little towards the end, but that's okay. But episode 2 specifically, the apology, where he's supposed to apologize for smoking marijuana, and at the end of the show, there in 1 minute when he's doing his apology to the camera, the entire show changes. Is one of the best pieces of television storytelling I've ever seen.
Was that
So
Peter Krause or was that?
no, it was Josh Charles.
Oh
No,
yeah.
it was Josh Charles. But it's an amazing episode. And actually, I don't know if you remember, but that's where you and I first met because, or maybe we met before that. Did you do Drew Carey before that or after that?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
so you and I met on Drew Carey. But
Yes.
I came by Sports Night because Tommy was going to actually, if they went to another season, he was going to have me direct. And I came by and shadowed
Oh
him for a week.
God.
Yeah. But,
Because I think Jerome Fauci was
Jerome
the guy.
Fauci was the Steadicam
Yeah.
operator. But Tommy told me that what they did there, which was sort of unheard of, was they would do 2 days. They did it like a sitcom, even though it was not really a sitcom. And they would do 2 days and rehearse everything and get everything set, or 3 days, and then you guys would just shoot it all, the entire episode, in 2 days.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I was doing some other show at the same time.
yeah.
Maybe it was Drew Carey.
It could have been. Yeah, that's true. But
We had one, two. I think we had 3 film cameras.
yeah,
We had 3 video cameras, and then we had a Steadicam,
yep.
and then we had all kinds of. what do you call security cameras all over the place
Oh yeah, that's right.
that we'd cut to.
Yeah.
It there was a and Tommy liked to move that camera.
Oh, he did. Well, look, I
You
think
know him.
he had come out of VR and he was getting his legs underneath him for West Wing, definitely.
Well, that was the problem, is that West Wing happened at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I think
So there
West
was
came
no
over
way
after
that
the second season. Yeah.
there
Yeah.
was no way Aaron Sorkin could do both.
Yeah. Do you know? I don't know if you know this, but Tommy was given the pilot for West Wing and the pilot for Sports Night on the same weekend, and he sat down and read them both, and said, "These are the most amazing things I've ever read." Like, can you imagine getting both of those on the same weekend? It's amazing.
The episode that we got the Emmy for was really funny too, because it was about this new sports network was going to do the heavyweight championship.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big deal. And they did all kinds of research and learned all kinds of terms, and were completely had a guy that they didn't like ringside because the guy they liked didn't show or something. I can't remember what it was. And they're completely set. There are all kinds of history. They're ready to do all the interstitial stuff. And they have their tuxedos on, and the fight starts, and it's over in 10 seconds.
That's right. I do remember this. It's a knockout, like where he comes out and he just knocks him out. I do remember that. It was a really good episode. Well, anybody who hasn't seen Sports Night should watch it, because you did some amazing work there, and Jerome did. Everybody did on that show, and it's just it's a gem that I turn people onto, and then they go, "Why haven't I seen this before?" And it's like, yeah, it's great.
Well, I mean, part of working in sitcoms prepares you to do a show like that, because you know how to light everywhere,
Sure.
and not make it look overlit.
Yeah.
You know kind of where people are going to turn and where the keys need to be, and how to just make an environment that looks real but works for all the close-ups no matter where the hell they go,
Yeah.
without being just bright and overly lit, and how to set it all up with a lot of stuff and only use what you need. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because this was the era when dimmers became really good.
Yeah.
You didn't have these things that you had to pull big sticks with.
Yeah.
Dimmers
Exactly.
were electronic, and you could rig all kinds of stuff in there and not use it until you needed it. And that was, so having worked sitcoms really helped me to get set in that situation. And well, the Larry Sanders Show, that was lit environmentally, not so much. We didn't key everything, but
Yeah.
but it really, really helped for us to be prepared to move quickly, just using the dimmer board to bring things up that would work for us. You know what I mean?
Well, because Sports Night was really a hybrid, right? I mean, it was a half hour comedy, but it was
It
not in front of an
started
audience.
as an
Yeah.
audience show
It did?
for 1 week.
Oh, I didn't know that. So the pilot is an audience show?
Yeah, like they didn't stay.
No, I clearly, but I had no
And then
idea.
they put not only, it's horrible to put a fourth wall on a sitcom, but they put a fourth wall and then a hallway, and then hallways perpendicular to that.
I know.
So it's like a fourth, fifth, and sixth wall, and there were windows that you could see deep on the fourth wall, and so it didn't look like something was just clapped onto the sets.
Yeah. How long did you do the Drew Carey show?
Only 9 years.
Only 9 years. So I think I came on at the end when you would call me in when they were doing those crazy music numbers that they
No,
were doing.
those are early on. I think that's
Early?
what put the show on the map.
Oh, I thought that was towards the end. I totally lost track of it then. Okay.
No, but that was great. That was so great to have that, so that you weren't sort of just stuck in those 3-wall sets for all the time. I mean, I thought it was a good show. I liked the comedy. I liked the actors. I
It was a
think they
fun
were
show.
great.
Yeah, absolutely. And
But those dance numbers just opened it up so much.
well, I remember I'd come in and the dance numbers just got crazier and crazier. It's like every time I'd come in, it'd be something more wild they were doing, and they were like huge sort of Broadway musical numbers. I mean, and with these actors doing all the choreographed dancing.
I think there was one where you were the crane operator.
It could
You operated the camera on the crane,
it could be
a techno,
yeah.
where we didn't even have Steadicam on it. Maybe
That
we did.
no,
I'm not.
or
I
maybe I
think
came in and did both. I remember I would come in and it was always something different. I just remember that it was always exciting when I got that call. But does
yeah, but that was so much that made doing a sitcom really fun.
when you do a sitcom for 9 years, how do you keep your head in the game?
Well, I mean, the writing is really good, and they had a lot of great guest cast, and they built some really really cool sets.
Yeah,
That were challenging, like a boat and the interior of a crappy tanker boat, and I don't know, you're happy to be working,
I guess.
and it was
Yeah,
a hit,
yeah,
and they were doing 22 episodes, and it wasn't just regular stuff. I mean, yes, you'd come back to the kitchen. There's always a kitchen somewhere in a sitcom, you know, and I don't know, you just try stuff, you know what I mean? It was film, so you couldn't get too crazy because you didn't see your dailies for 3 days, and maybe you didn't even see them at all. When you're a sitcom guy, you only are on stage in the evenings or Monday or 2 days.
yeah.
So you could have a Monday, Tuesday, and a Thursday, Friday.
So you do two shows at the same time,
You
basically.
can, but you would leave. But most of the lighting is done at night anyway because they rehearse all day. So you
Oh,
could finish your shooting on one show, jam over to the other show, give notes, maybe get there in time for the run through,
yeah.
and give, like sometimes the run throughs would be at lunch on the other show. And all these guys do two shows. And at that time, I was doing the Larry Sanders Show and the Drew Carey Show.
I want to ask you about the Larry Sanders Show, but I'll tell you something. I think I told you this before. The thing that blew me away about the Drew Carey Show, because it was the first sitcom I had ever done. I think the only other sitcoms I've really ever done were with you. Maybe there's one other DP I work with occasionally, mostly with you.
Paul
But
Maybaum?
no, not Paul. I've worked. No, I have worked. So maybe there are three. I've worked with Paul Maybaum. It's the guy who shot Seinfeld.
Wayne Kennan.
Wayne Kennan. I did a bunch of stuff with Wayne Kennan.
Uh-huh.
But the thing is, the first day that I showed up and the actors were filming and the actors said something funny or even that was supposed to be funny, and all of a sudden the whole crew starts laughing, the camera crew, and I looked around and I thought, what's going on? Because to me that's totally foreign, and I was like, oh, you guys, and they're like, no, laugh big, make it. They like it. It's totally bizarre. I was like, oh, this is part of the job. So that was kind of interesting. But tell me about the Larry Sanders Show, because the thing that you did roller skating on that, correct? Or rollerblading on that?
Well, I came into that probably because of Spinal Tap.
Okay,
Because
that's
I
the
was
gift that keeps giving, right?
a handheld thing, and also because I did sitcoms, so it was 3 cameras,
Yeah.
and it was 3 or 4 video cameras when we did the talk shows. So I had experience in all these kind of areas. Because I've been doing documentaries on tape as well. I can't remember if I had done Sports Night before or after this, but anyway, I they called the Leave It to Beaver people, and they say, hey, definitely, you should use them. So I got that show, and it was 4-wall sets, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they didn't think it could be done. They thought the producer said, if you guys can't do this, I'm opening these sets up and we're bringing the audience in. Okay.
You mean they didn't think they could be done in a 4-walled set
With 3 cameras
with 3
in a
cameras?
4-wall
You'll
set.
see each other.
Even though it was 16 millimeter.
Yep.
And we had a great pilot director, Ken Quapis. If you worked with,
love Ken Quapis. Wonderful guy.
and then Todd Holland took over. I don't know if you know
Sure.
Todd.
Yep.
And we just said, okay, well, this is the problem. This is the problem. Let's
That's what
just
we do with
design.
all our lives, right? Like,
Let's
how do, this doesn't work. How do we make this
we'll
work?
just design design how to make it work.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we wound up at first having one camera on a dolly and two cameras on tripods with an offset arm that brought the camera out over the wheel of the tripod on a wheels,
Uh-huh.
okay, so that you wouldn't be centered up. You could you know so you wouldn't have the leg in the master. You
Yeah.
could get the camera. You move the camera over a little bit,
Yep.
and we did that for a while, and then we did handheld in the hallways
Hmm.
because I was a handheld guy, and then we started doing all the coverage handheld, keeping the master on a, because that gave you the ability to hide. Like you could hide behind a desk. The master would bring someone, swing someone over, and then you stand up and get the coverage.
Yeah.
And if you did a shot in the hallways, you could open doors. People would stop in some place, and the two cameras would do coverage at the doors. And so we started doing almost everything handheld, except if we were in a small set, we'd have a camera on a Pee-wee doing the master. And eventually we started doing, I don't know if we ever dropped that, but if it was moving around, all the cameras would be handheld. And we got Joan Churchill the first season to do it, and then she got busy. But I was doing all these moves down the hallways handheld, and I was a skater, I was, and I was teaching the key grip to rollerblade out in the neighborhood around Radford.
Oh, just nothing to do with filming. You mean
Yeah,
just
we would do it at lunch.
yeah.
I was
Okay.
teaching him how to rollerblade,
Yeah.
and he said, we should just do those hallway shots on rollerblades. So the AC would pull me, right? It was much smoother.
So you're a dolly.
Yeah, and it was faster. You could go faster, and you could make corners really fast.
Yep.
I mean, you as a Steadicam operator know it's really hard to make a corner. The
Very
camera
hard.
camera wants to roll over
Yep.
when you go around a corner, right? But we could really whip around a corner, and the camera wouldn't tilt.
Yeah.
And the really tough thing that we started doing was changing direction. Like we'd roll up to something, someone would come in, and I'd have to reverse, like do a split on my skates, and then ring the other one, and then go the other way,
Oh, jeez.
and then we started just sweeping around that place, I mean,
It has a
it
great
was.
feel to it. That's why when I first heard that, I was like, "Oh, that's kind of genius." But that show is not scripted, right? I mean
Yeah, that was very, very tightly scripted. Yeah.
Oh, that show is scripted. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
really tight.
misunderstood.
There'd be during the rehearsal process there'd be ad libbing
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
and
Oh, but so you're traditionally rehearsing and setting up a scene and
yeah,
blocking.
I wasn't there for rehearsal days.
Yeah.
I get there for run throughs, and there'd be, I mean, there'd be times when it wouldn't work, and they'd come up with a line, especially when they had guests.
Yeah.
You never knew who the guest. You thought you knew who the guest was, but then they drop out and they get another guest.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You think it would be Elvis Costello, and it would turn out to be Sting. And they'd have to write and really fast.
Yeah.
Or a comedian, or Jim Carrey versus David Spade. But typically they'd show up.
Yeah.
And we would do. Sometimes we would have to do the talk show stuff, which we did with video cameras, and the film stuff on the same day, because you only had that guest for that day. You know what I mean? And we started off with 7247. I can't remember what it was, but it was 92. It was 47, then it was 92. 47 was so grainy.
Oh, the film stock you're saying. Yeah.
It was so grainy, but it looked really different than the tape. And Gary Shandling really liked that. But to me, it was just disturbingly grainy. finally, I think the next generation of negative came out, and I felt a little better.
Yeah.
But he didn't care. He loved that. He liked that. I mean,
Yeah.
we lit and we made
Yeah.
the moods of the various scenes. We lit to the script, but he just liked that grain, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it works for it. And now, is Always Sunny still on? Are you still doing that?
I'm not doing that. No, I stopped that after 9 years.
Wow. Okay.
And because I was on a sitcom, maybe you even worked on it, was a Nickelodeon. Well, I got an offer for a sitcom.
Uh-huh.
So Sunny was down to 8 episodes a season, 4-day weeks,
Wow.
and always during pilot season somehow. And I got offered a Nickelodeon show, 22 episodes, which became 27. And it was like you go from complete depravity to a Nickelodeon show.
Yeah. Right.
And I just had to take it. And the gaffer, his name is John Tanzer. Do you know John at all?
I don't think so.
He had been gaffing on the show, and I said, "Well, John could do the show," and they were very happy. They liked him, and he's done episodes 10, 11, 12. I think they're on 13 now.
Oh, you mean seasons?
Season, yeah.
Wow. So it
So
is still
he's
going.
doing it.
It's not on that anymore. Wow.
And I haven't seen it, but it's
But that's shot all little
it's
video.
fucking brilliant.
It's little video cameras, right?
It was DHX. What was that? DHX 900.
I don't know numbers, but
It was a mini DV.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then now they went to 4K.
Oh.
They went to HD. It was mini
okay.
DV 10. I don't even think it was 1080.
Oh
then
my
they went to
gosh.
HD.
That's amazing. It never got on.
No, it was 1080.
Yeah.
Then they went to a 4K mini small cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah, little teeny cameras.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
All handheld. I think it's a brilliant show.
It's a very funny show, and that's 9 years of it.
I did the pilot of The Office somewhere in there.
You did?
Yeah.
Well, with Ken Quapis, right?
With Ken.
Yeah.
Because I was a handheld guy.
Oh, I didn't know you did the pilot.
But I didn't do the show.
Yeah.
Because I was busy or something.
Uh-huh.
And then Randall Einhorn, do you know him?
Yep.
He's a reality TV guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he took over shooting and directing.
Yep.
But they really put a lot of camera into it,
Yeah, well, there's all those snap zooms and whatever. And I interviewed Sarah Levy, who's one of the operators, and she said,
yeah, I got her on that.
Oh, she's fantastic. But she was saying that some of it is designed and some of it is they just feel it, and it's moments that they grab.
Yeah, my personal feeling was it's a little much. Mm-hmm. It's a little too guiding. It's almost like a sitcom laugh track, Yeah. It's telling you this is something to look at. This is
what I want you to see. Yeah, it's a different style. Well, look, it certainly hit its mark. It's worked pretty well for them.
Yeah, and then I did the first 6 of Parks and Rec.
One of my personal favorite shows.
Yeah, I wish they didn't like me. They did not ask me back.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
But but part of it was adapting to that style that was so strong. And I just somehow, what is his name? Greg Daniels. Mm-hmm. I somehow we just didn't click.
Look, it happens, right? I mean, that's this industry. Is part of it is.
But I got both those shows. I got both those shows off the ground.
Off the ground, no question. And they both have huge things going for them. So I do want to ask you some operating questions. First of all, because you've done so much handheld. For someone who is starting out as an operator, can you give them some tips on just handheld operating, walking, I don't know, anything you can think of that you can share? Which I know is tough because you've been doing it for so long, you probably don't think about it, but I figure it's worth it.
Well, the thing about it is that there's so much handheld now.
Yeah.
And it's stylistic. It's become very stylistic, Like if you're doing a documentary, I don't know if you want to do all that stuff, you know what I mean? zap in on every emotional thing.
Well,
And
because in a documentary, you're supposed to be the fly on the wall, and nobody's supposed to know you're there. And the stuff that you're talking about is oh, here's the camera, right?
but even in an interview, I see them do that.
Yeah.
Like, and other shows have adapted it slightly, like Modern Family. And other movies where you see they do a little boop
Yep.
here and there. And to me, it's disturbing, but maybe people feel it. But so handheld. I would say, among other things that I find problematic in people who come on to shows that are handheld is not being able to see the level, that you're off level.
Yeah.
Especially with wide angle smaller cameras where there's distortion in the side, and to find your level you need to use a vertical in the middle of the frame. You can't use a vertical at the side of the frame because there's always some distortion.
Yep.
That's a silly little detail.
No, but that's a
But
great one. So looking for a vertical in the middle of the frame to figure out your level
something closer to the middle
visually.
of the frame to line up your crosshair with, or whatever you feel. But if you use the edges to line up on something,
Yep.
there's distortion on the edges of especially small cameras.
No, that's a great tip. I mean, so many of these cameras have built-in levels in the eyepiece. You can see it. Although I don't know if
I
don't know
didn't know that.
Yeah, a lot of them do now. But I don't know. There's one.
I've seen that.
The Airy camera has a level in the eyepiece, but the thing is, the level goes the wrong way. So if you tilt down to the left, the bubble goes to the left, as opposed to every other place in the entire world and physics, it would go to the right. And
I think it's easier to find something that's vertical somewhere.
if you go by visuals, there's no question about it. That's just
I mean, if you're outside, it might be a different story.
Yeah.
One other little thing is when you're walking with somebody, try to walk in their steps.
What does that mean?
When they start, try to walk with their steps. I don't know if that's a thing with you and Steadicam.
It probably isn't as much with Steadicam because the arm is taking out most of that.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is when their leg goes up, hopefully your leg goes up so that you've got the same cadence.
Yeah, because for some reason it keeps you steadier. I don't know why.
But that way they're rising when you're rising, and they're coming down when you're coming down.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
It's not a necessity, but
that's
it's
great.
A thing.
Get rollerblades.
I mean, whenever you can, use a piece of set to steady yourself. Like just an elbow, any part of your body that could touch something solid, a knee, any part of your body that can touch something that's not moving is amazing how much it helps. Even though you're not resting your elbow on it, just a shoulder, anything that touches something solid steadies you much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, that's a great tip. And you're right. I've been in those situations where even if you just get it's almost like if you get your thigh just touching a couch or something, it psychologically grounds you, right? Even if it doesn't do that much physically.
I mean, there's some probably concept of triangulation somewhere in there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, what to look for in an operator? Let's see. I'm trying to think of people. A lot of times in sitcoms, the director picks the operators.
No, is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah, because they have a team that they like to. If it's a pilot, you know what I mean?
Yep.
They like to bring their team on.
They have their people. Or if you think back on the operators that you think were good, like what is it that makes them that way?
I mean, I would say if you're the DP, at least talk to them one time before even on the phone. Don't just let somebody just come right in because someone said they were great. That's especially true with me and gaffers. But at least talk at least one time. It is nice to talk to someone that they've worked with. I have done that. I talked to whoever is on the resume if I can get a hold of somebody.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't even. It's not even somebody that's been recommended. I'll call a DP and I'll say, "I'm doing this project. Do you know somebody that you like who you're not working with who's available?"
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But what do I look for? If you can talk to them, and that's a good thing, you know. But if it seems like a weird moment or a weird conversation, or that someone is just really trying to sell, it's like suspicious. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a comfort level, right? I mean, the thing is, there's the operating part of it, and then there's the whole social part of it, which is almost as important, I think, on some levels, right? Because you're going to be with these people all day.
Yeah, you gotta just get a sense that you can communicate.
Yeah.
In just a simple conversation. I don't know how it happens, but there's just some sort of simple thing that you say, okay, I know I can communicate with this person.
Sure.
And you might not even be talking about their career, but that's always good to do, to talk to somebody about what they've done and how that went and what were some of those challenges, and how did you guys overcome them? And do you use wheels or a fluid head?
And there's
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I became a wheels person. I don't
Hmm.
know. Actually, I became a wheels person because on Leave It to Beaver, there was one operator, there was one camera, there was one operator, and I would set up shots using the wheels, even though I had never shot with them.
Well, I was going to say that surprised me because I wouldn't think with all your verite work that you would have gotten on the wheels before that.
No, no, I hadn't.
Yeah.
But on that, we did 5 years. We did 105 episodes. And so, just in doing setups, just looking because we did have video taps, but with doing setups, and then my first show operating was Pee Wee's Playhouse,
Oh, you
and we
operated
had
them.
wheels.
Yeah.
We had wheels, and I
Yeah.
was completely comfortable having never shot a film with them.
Sure. Sure. Of all these things that you've done, do you have a favorite?
Well, I would say there was a series I did for Billy Crystal called Sessions. It was called Sessions. It was on HBO with
Okay.
Elliot Gould and Michael McKean.
Wow.
And it was about a psychiatrist. Elliot Gould was a psychiatrist, and his patient was Michael McKean. And as they got into his problems, they would flash back to his youth or to other things that had happened.
Yeah.
And it was mainly about really embarrassing male sexual problems. And Tommy was the director. Tommy
Tommy
was one of the
Swami.
directors, and Billy wrote and produced it. And we would have done more, except he became a director. About what was that about?
City Slickers, right?
City
Yeah.
Slickers.
Yeah.
I really loved that show.
Oh, I'll
The
have to
Larry
check it out.
Sanders Show. I
Sessions.
really loved the Larry Sanders Show.
Yeah.
I really loved It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, those dance numbers on the Drew Carey Show.
I'm gonna have to find some of those and post them on the website for the podcast because
Those are great.
it's not what you expect to see in a sitcom. That's for sure.
Yeah. Sessions. I just love that.
I'll have to check that out. Yeah.
I ran into Billy Crystal. I did a few things with him. I don't know if you remember, Sting had a documentary about preparing for a tour, and he took the band to a beautiful home in the French Alps, and it was a television, it was a movie about them preparing for this tour.
Was this Bring on the Night?
Could that be it?
I think so. Yeah.
And they were rehearsing and stuff.
Yeah, it sounds right.
Well, Billy Crystal did a takeoff on that with a bunch of comedians going to a house and rehearsing and talking and writing. It was all scripted,
Yeah.
but that was really fun. Eugene Levy was in it.
I have to say, I don't know if it was the first time you worked with him, but Billy Crystal is the mime in This Is Spinal Tap. Maybe one of
Yeah,
the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
yeah. Mime is money.
That's fantastic. And the other thing that I just recently learned about in Spinal Tap, but that I never noticed before, I was listening to a podcast about it, is that I guess there was a whole thing that they had with the fact that the guys had herpes sores and like the groupies all had them and they would come and go, but they never made a big deal about it. But we talked about these things that you get on the fifth watching or whatever.
There's a story behind that.
There is?
So, do you know who Cherie Currie is? She was the lead singer of the Runaways.
Okay.
Cherie Currie, a beautiful. So the band comes into a venue, and their opening act is on stage.
Wait, so the Spinal Tap, or you're
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
okay, yeah, yeah,
Coming in, the opening act is on the stage. It's an all-girl band called The Dose. And Cherie Currie is the lead singer, and she's gorgeous. She's got a skin-tight blue lame, costume on.
uh-huh.
And they all look at each other and say, "We got two with The Dose." Okay, so the movie, you go through the whole movie, and Cherie Currie is seen with each band member all over them, like a complete,
Yeah,
like they're a couple. Then the next time you see her, she's with another band member. The previous band member has got a big cold sore.
yeah. That's what I
She
heard.
goes through the whole band, and then they call an emergency band meeting. We've got to get rid of the dose. And the drummer, all the band members have big cold sores except the drummer. And we got to get rid of the dose. Well, what's wrong with the dose? That complete joke is out of the movie.
That's what I heard about. I didn't know all that,
Except,
but
except there's a press party where they're talking about Smell the Glove.
yeah,
And Christopher Guest and Michael McKean are talking about what's wrong with asking the girl, what's wrong with sexy? No, and they both have cold sores,
that's
and there's a big laugh.
yeah.
That in itself gets a laugh, but the entire
But it's
story of Cherie
lost. Yep.
Currie is not in the movie, and the band meeting is not in the movie.
It's fantastic because I just heard about this and it was pointed out and they said there was a whole storyline that was lost, but I didn't know what it was.
That is
No,
the
that's
story.
great,
You
fantastic.
do see her in one limo ride, the one where Bruno Kirby says, they're looking at Sammy Davis Jr.'s book, Yes, I Can.
Oh, okay, yeah,
And,
yeah.
and he says, "Yes, I can," and Frank says, "I can." Poor Bruno, huh? Bruno was in many Larry Sanders episodes,
Yeah.
and he's always the guest that doesn't get on the air, that they have to replace him. He never gets on the air.
Oh.
And that's the running joke on the series.
Yeah, yeah.
So there was a video collection of Larry Sanders shows, the best of Larry Sanders, and we shot stuff. They had all the desk stuff, and they had Greg Kinnear do it. Okay, so they had Greg Kinnear introduce the stuff and talk about different things, and then Greg leaves, and Bruno comes on, and he says, "I'm ready to do the introduction," because he was always the guy that never got on. I said, I'm really glad you asked me here. Oh shit, we
We
just had
forgot.
Greg Kinnear do it.
That's great. That's fantastic.
And then like 2 weeks later, he died.
Oh, jeez.
Some crazy thing happened. I can't remember. He got some disease that was really fast.
Oh, God, I didn't even realize that.
Did you ever work with Bruno?
I never did.
Uh-huh.
But super talented guy. Yeah.
One of the remember I told you about On TV that we did all those pieces?
Yeah.
Well, in the 10-minute piece that we did as the promo, there was the scene in the limo with Bruno being the driver.
Yeah.
There actually was a guy that this was based on who had an apartment somewhere in Hollywood. He had all the Frank Sinatra albums, maybe 10 or 50 of them unopened with the cellophane still on them. and kind of the character was based on that.
Oh, that's
But we
great.
did a 10-minute piece about him with Bruno playing him.
Oh, wow.
That was one of the on TV
One of the on
pieces.
TV. I'm gonna have to look for the on TV stuff. That sounds
They were
fun.
all good, I thought.
That's great. I'll look for it. Before we finish, I did want to ask you, just because I think it's unique. Tell me about your speed skating right now.
Oh, well, actually, when I started rollerblading on Larry Sanders, it kind of got me back into skating.
Yeah.
I was a hockey player when I was a kid,
Okay.
and I'm from Detroit, and there were two leagues in Detroit, the outdoor league and the indoor league, and I graduated to the indoor league, which I guess is the elite. When you're in the outdoor league, it could snow and you couldn't even find the puck.
Yeah.
But I got into at a certain point, I just wasn't. I wasn't training enough. I didn't really care that much about it. And people were showing up with no front teeth. And so I got into speed skating for a short time before somewhere near the end of high school. And then I took a approximately 45-year break just to rest up a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
And then I don't know, I had some injuries or something. I trained out of them and I said, okay, I want to do a sport now. And I was thinking about doing hockey, but you couldn't even skate around and practicing without the entire rig, which is the hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And I found out about a speed skating club that had loaner skates. And this is a long time ago. Could be 22 years ago, something like that.
Oh, okay.
I
I
was
didn't
like
realize. Oh, wow.
55 or 57
Yeah.
and started skating with them. And it was a very elite club. It did have different levels, but they were training Olympic skaters. But so I started skating with them, and then I started racing with them, but in my, not with the elite skaters. And then I just kept doing it and bought skates and kept doing it. Joined a club in Santa Clarita, which had coaching, and kept doing it. And then I don't know, I stopped and started, stopped and started. And a few years ago, I started up again, or several years ago, and won the national championships in my age division
That's
in,
unbelievable.
in Lake Placid.
That is so cool.
And then I got injured again and stopped for a while, and now I'm clawing my way back into condition.
That is really cool.
I mean, I'm really, really got a long ways to go. But these age group nationals are in March,
Okay.
and this time they're in Boston.
Okay.
So we'll see if I can get in good enough shape I have to at least make the distances.
Yeah. Well, if you end up making it in March, you let me know, and I'll try to come out and cheer you on. Peter, this has really been wonderful. I really appreciate it, and you have such an amazing career, and these stories are fantastic. Like, I could listen to these stories all day. But I will leave you with the question I leave everybody with, and I'll let you take us out. Advice for someone getting into the business on how to succeed, and or something you know now that you wish you knew back then.
Okay. I'm not sure about the second part, but I would say in the first part, we're talking about photography, and we're talking about just having that bug for photography. Now, it could be that your bug is filmmaking, but I would say if you're interested in the camera side, that anything you can do to be on a set, do it. I don't care what it is. I mean, I know I had an assistant named Steve Posey. He became a really good cameraman, and I worked on a couple of things where he was his third grip, and he was a very good assistant. But he did anything he could to be around a set. I would say that is really good to do. I mean, I don't think you should worry about someone seeing you as a grip and not seeing you as a cameraman. That's my feeling. I think film schools and all that is terrific if you can pull that off. Anyone that you can possibly make contact with and ask if you can observe, or shadow, or maybe they could tell you someone you could observe or shadow, or there's going to be a set that they would let you come on. Anything you can do to see how it's done is really great. And even if it's in production, even if it's in an editing room or all the things that go into making a film are important. Every single thing that anyone does can completely fuck up a film. Just think of shooting Jurassic Park on film and the PA goes in to get a Slurpee when he's delivering the film to the airport and comes back out and his car is fucking gone. Anything is absolutely important. You know, I mean, every single person on a film set or associated with it is critical. So anything that you're doing, if you fuck it up, you can really have a lot of effect. So if you don't fuck it up, you can really make a contribution. You never know what you're going to contribute. You know, you may just say something to a third grip who says something to the key grip, and like, that was a great idea, you know, and you can see it happen. Anytime you make a contribution in filmmaking, it's a great feeling. And then I would say that the best ticket in the world, I mean, better than Disneyland, better than any play you go to, is a ticket to be creative. That is the best ticket in the world. And if you can do anything to be creative, that is the most satisfying experience you're gonna have.